Tell us what you see.
I see him holding me back of my head, hit me in the kidneys. I mean, I could go on and on, you know what I mean?
That appeared to be the punch that did it. If you watch your reaction, watch your reaction.
Max, I have had a tremendous, I have 15 world championships.
What about your reaction right here?
I have had 15 world, no, that's what.
I mean, it does appear that it was a punch that opened it.
Trust me, when I got hit in the head, I told the referee, you know what I mean? I mean, it could have been a small cut, and that punch could have opened it more.
It's academic because he, in fact, was up on the scorecards. Do you believe that you were up on the score?
I mean, the whole arena believes it, don't y'all? Look, it speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. The whole arena says I won this fight. I mean, like, come on, man. I mean, like, you know what? I just want to thank God for bringing me, my family here, bringing me out of this fight safely, and you know, I just leave my hands in God's hands. That's it.
Zab, you fought this fight in a more determined way maybe than I've ever seen you fight, in the sense that even as it seemed to get away from you a little bit in rounds 3 and 4, you stuck to your game plan. You never stopped trying to win the fight, and in fact were making it close even in the middle late rounds when people thought you would fade. What did you think was at stake here tonight?
I sacrificed myself for this training camp. I worked hard. I was in Vegas for a tremendous longer time, and I sacrificed myself from my family and from everything, and I went ahead and did my best, man. You know what I mean? And, you know, I mean, it just hurts, man. It hurts.
Zab, thanks for an excellent performance.
Thank you very much. Remember, Zab Super Judo, the people champion. Y'all know who I am.
We have the ringside physician here, Dr. James Game. What happened, doctor?
Well, the referee, Robert Bird, asked me to take a look at the cut above Zab's eye. Zab said he wasn't able to see, assuming that it was because of the blood. I removed the blood, looked at the laceration, said he could fight, but he insisted he couldn't see. I gave him a visual check 3 different times. He could not identify whether it was 2 fingers or 3 fingers, so I had to believe him that indeed he couldn't see, and that was the reason we stopped the fight.
Why was it okay for him to continue? It did look like the cut was in a bad spot right over the corner of the eye.
Because the reason that he couldn't see had nothing to do with the blood. I had removed the blood, and he still insisted he couldn't see.
Sounds like you don't believe him.
I believe he couldn't see at the time, yes.
Thank you, doctor.
You're welcome.
Bob.
All right, thank you very much, Max Kellerman. So the doctor thought that he could continue, but he didn't pass the test that he gave Zab Judah. Zab said he couldn't see. Lennox, with all due respect, Zab Judah obviously is an American. He's fighting here in Las Vegas. He's got a lot of family and friends. He summoned the crowd as support that he won the fight, but to that point in the fight, I think you would agree with the judges and Harold Letterman and all of us that Joshua Clottey was starting to take over the fight and gaining momentum, and Judah was getting broken up.
It was. I mean, Judah did a good job early on in the first few rounds, and when it came to the later rounds, you could see he was kind of wilting a little bit, and Joshua Clottey was imposing his will on him. And, you know, take nothing away from Zab. He boxed well. He did the right things, but, you know, he needed to keep that up. And now that the situation came up with a cut, I don't know. I think there's talk of a rematch.
Oh, well, who knows about a rematch with Lennox, but, you know, Max, the replays clearly show a short punch to the inside where Judah's head gets snapped back and the cut opens up. Now, maybe there was a nick there. We could not really find a clash of heads in any of our replays that you would say, yeah, right there is where it started, then the punch finished it. Zab Judah fought a tremendous fight, but it wasn't good enough against a guy like Clottey. Now, what do you take out of Clottey now with this win? Is he ready to step into this landscape? The Paul Williams, he called out Andre Berto, Oscar De La Hoya, Antonio Margo. Where does he fit in all of this?
Right at the top.
Because he's not a big money guy.
No, he's not, and unfortunately, if you had to look into the crystal ball, you'd assume that top welterweights, including Antonio Margarito, may not want, or the promoters may not want to get in there with Josh Clottey. He's capable of beating just about anyone. He was beating Margarito handily halfway through their fight, and who knows, maybe had his hands held up or had he been in feeling better, in better shape, maybe he could have beaten Margarito. Certainly a rematch, I think, is a pick'em kind of fight. One comment about Zab Judah, because I was probably foremost pulling his bandwagon early in his career. It's a shame that it took until this point in his career to watch him fight with that level of determination that we just saw. At no point in that fight Was Zab Judah fighting just to show people, look, I'm still fighting back? He was actually trying to win, actually sticking to his game plan. He fought a tough, determined fight, but whether the fight was stopped because of an accidental butt or a real punch, it's academic. Josh Clottey was up on the scorecards, seemed to be getting stronger as the fight went on, and now in 2 consecutive weeks, we've seen Margarito over Cotto and now Clottey over Judah. I wouldn't say so much substance over style because I think there was plenty of substance from all 4 fighters. But in the end, who really does want it more? No one wants it more than Antonio Margarito, but Josh Clottey wants it a whole lot, and I wouldn't mind seeing those 2 get in there again.
And they did fight once before, as you mentioned, with Margarito winning a 12-round decision. And, you know, we started this evening off with the rebroadcast of Margarito Cotto, and you saw even when Cotto had his moments in the early parts of the fight that Margarito was breaking him down. Same thing kind of happened tonight with Zab Judah. There were moments in this fight where he looked good, he looked sharp, he worked the body, but it was Clottey blocking shots, it was Clottey pressing forward, and it was Clottey wearing down Zab Judah. Because of cuts, the fight has stopped, accidental clash of heads. But in the end, I think anybody that was watching got a sense that Joshua Clottey was starting to build the momentum and starting to wear down Zab Judah. Joshua Clottey gets another win on his resume, and a big one at that, in stopping Zab Judah and winning the decision in the 9th round after the accidental clash of heads. Well, for Max Kellerman and Lennox Lewis, Bob Papa, we hope you've enjoyed the rebroadcast of Margarito Cotto and Judah squaring off against Clottey. Coming up next on HBO, it's Generation Kill Part 3. If you missed any part of tonight's show, you can catch it again on HBO tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. or on HBO 2 tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m. and Tuesday night at 1:15 midnight. So for our entire HBO crew, this is Bob Papa saying so long from Las Vegas, Nevada.
This has been a presentation of HBO Sports.